So I'm Vansika Shrivastava. I'm a tech evangelist and I'm a community influencer at Crowdfund Junction. I will give you a slight intro to the organization as well, and with that we'll move on. Right, so what is Crowdfund Junction? It's a crypto community DAO. We are a VC DAO where we focus on funding the projects and more of in the things of DAO and influencer driven, and more of NFT venture capitalism also. So Matt for NFTs is our another venture that we have, and we are the launch partner for celebrity, influencer, fashion, art, property, etc. You can find more about these on the website itself, right? So, how many of you, actually, before I begin, yeah, I would like to know who all are here, like into cryptos, invest in cryptos? Very few. Okay. Developers here? Okay, great. And students? Ooh, students are many, wow. So why are you getting in Web3? Is it the money, or is it the hype, or is it the actual knowledge that exists? All of them, okay. Diplomatic answer, okay. Cool. So, there has been a lot of these things around. You might have heard that NFTs, cryptos, make millions money. Why is the question? But then, again, there's a very important thing to understand, that there's a difference between NFTs and cryptos, not in the terms of how they operate, but also in the terms of their trading, their purpose, their volatility, and their use cases, right? So, NFT is more of like, it's a cryptographic token, more of a digital asset. And while your cryptos are more of like a tokens, like in the coin segment, right? And you can really trade them. But NFTs you cannot trade, because their value is so much, they're so much unique that if you hold that NFT, you cannot trade it for some another NFT. Right? The value of each of these NFTs is very different, which is why it makes them a super, a bigger use case. We'll talk about these use cases in the further go, but yeah, so these are the 4 major points where NFTs and cryptos are really differentiated, even though they are part of Web3 ecosystem. And mostly, I would say use cases, right? We have all heard that cryptos, you can there are companies like Biconomy, there are companies like, Flint Money and all, they have got their own coins, right? Like we have validators, we have executors. So they can stake the coins, they can earn the benefits in the terms of the coins itself, which belongs to the community or which belongs to the DAO. But cryptos go into this segment, and NFTs are very, individual type of a thing. Like you can have collectibles, you can have collections. Recently, Instagram also launched their own digital collectibles option feature actually. So now I can say that even the Web2 companies are now shifting to Web3. And there is a mass adoption happening. Of course, in India, the regulatory issues, the policies that are being made is in order to control the usage, because anything that you get in terms of, maybe you might be using it for free, or maybe, you have that openness in the community, right? So the major problem that exists into the security ecosystem is definitely there. So yesterday I was talking to someone about blockchain trilemma, a term that I would like to introduce, where you have decentralization, scalability, and security. So while a lot of products and projects are being made on the, the layer 1 and well protocols and all, there are a lot of things that you have to take care of, right? So that's where your cryptographic companies, all these, the blockchains and everything that comes into the picture. But NFTs really enhance the creators. And I am one of the creators, but not into the digital part. My drawing is not that good, I'll be very honest. But you still do not need to be good at drawing in order to have your own NFTs, right? So this is like a major difference, like the fungibility and the non-fungibility of things. You can, of course, trade. You have got 1 Ethereum, and I have got 1 Ethereum. We can trade, right? The value is going to be the same, except the fact where you are just trading from there are 4-5 days changes, because it's so volatile. But NFTs, that value is going to be always the same, mostly it's same. And if you're giving that NFT to me, I just cannot give same kind of thing back to you. So, yeah, And investors are they are making investment in NFT, and that why is it so? Is because of the increased adoption. So there's something which is called utility value, right? NFTs carry a utility value. I just cannot say just a piece of art where you're just like trading it for like $1 million, right? There must be some kind of ethnicity to that. That is why people are trading it. That is why people are, there are airdrops, right? Like, when you sign up for a program, you're getting an airdrop in your wallets. Right, so there must be some kind of a thing. So this kind of a thing that is utility value, which is why investor, which is even us, we want to invest in NFTs, because we can say to people that, I hold this NFT. I am probably part of, this particular DAO or particular community, and that's why I hold this particular NFT. So their appreciating value is often derived by two things: the creator and the scarcity. Creators are one, of course, who really creates all these, NFTs. If it's a very great creators. I mean, I personally I don't want to take sides. I'm not going to take names, but there are multiple creators, right? You see, you're like, okay, this is my favorite creator. Let's say PewDiePie. I'm trying to give this example from the perspective of gaming. So PewDiePie launches its own NFT collection, let's say. The fans will go all gaga about it, right? Like, I want to have that NFT. So that is a creator thing that is being created. And the second thing is the scarcity. So let's say if you have 2 to 3 pieces of those NFTs only, the scarcity is super low, and of course the price is going to be more high. So it's like just a demand supply thing. If the demand is more, your supply is going to be less, right? And vice versa. So if there's a scarcity, of course the demand is going to be more, the price is going to be more. Now, these are like the few, I would say, use cases that I actually found out. Of course, you can have representation of the ownership that you might have when you are part of a DAO. Let's say there's Super Team DAO, there's Super Movement DAO. The tokenomics are still being set, but when you join the community, you can probably hold an NFT. There is companies like Social3 where they're trying to build on-chain resume type of thing, I think. And they are also, airdropping these NFTs. So they're trying to show ownership that a person who's part of the community can probably hold that NFT, right? Then also you have decentralized marketplaces. Loyalty point and rewards is a very, very important use case of NFT. I think Starbucks and even Mahindra, they launched their own NFT. So what's going to happen is that you will get a very exclusive, features, royalties, and all these points that you can collect and use in terms of, how you would like to use the product. So I can also say that the utility value of these NFTs can be now transferred to the real world asset. Like, you can also use it for the purpose of you're going in Starbucks, you're going in Mahindra. We'll also talk about other companies also which have introduced their NFT ecosystem, and they're trying to provide multiple features in that, right? So yeah, of course, digital collectibles is another one. Instagram jumped in it. I think Twitter has also launched this thing. So this is not accessible to me as of now. This is only available in US, where people can have their profile picture as an NFT, which means that they mint that on OpenSea. Does anyone know OpenSea? I think people would know OpenSea, right? Okay, anyone has minted? Okay, cool. Yeah, so you can verify your own profile picture, and then you will get, like on your profile picture, people can actually check out that this is a verified account, like this belongs to you. Right? What's happened on Twitter is that it's very easy to steal someone's tweet, make another account, and just call that, this is my second account and something like that. But then how do you verify? So the creator can actually go and tell that, this is my account, this is my profile picture. And we all know that, Twitter is 140 characters platform. Like, you just cannot add more things into it. So how do you verify until you get the blue tick? So that's another there's a lot of revolution actually happening in Web 2 ecosystem, and people, including the Web 3, I would say, components. There was a fight that Web 3, Web 5 is also coming, right? Did anyone hear that thing on Twitter? So there was like all this conversation happening, and I believe that we will never shift to this thing of going all the way from Web 2 to Web 3. It's always going to be a mix of these two things, because Web 3 is eventually made on top of Web 2 layer itself, right? So we just cannot fight on the fact that everything is going to become Web 3. Even when we say we have got decentralized applications, the application might be decentralized, the dApps that we call, right? They might be decentralized, but the chains, they're still controlled by one specific authority. So we are yet to reach there. If someone has that question, I mean, I kind of answered that before, because people do ask that, we call it decentralized, but we are not really, because we have far more to go. There are a lot of security issues that come into the picture. There are a lot of vulnerability. You're putting everything on blockchain and no one controlling it from the perspective of chains is a very, very difficult point of view. Cool. Yeah, these are another utility tokens. Gaming applications, of course. If you have, there are a lot of platforms actually where they're trying to, airdrop and, award people NFTs. So you can actually change the skin of your person, right? I'm not a gamer, so I just cannot really say, but I've heard a lot of, these use cases. So, I mean, like whatever guns you might be having or whatever assets that you might hold in the gaming infrastructure, you can, of course, trade it for all these things and add those NFTs as a point of feature. Right. So, yeah, I was talking about companies investing in NFTs, right? There are these top 10s that I really got, and these are very huge, right? There is Adidas, there is eBay, Shopify, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Samsung, Nike, Formula One, Prada, and Ticketmaster. We also got to know that, there are a lot of companies that are launching, like the fashion companies are launching their own metaverse, right? So what you can do is now you get in the metaverse and you can finally see that how that particular dress looks on you. That's a use case. And if you have an NFT, you can probably get a particular discount, or maybe you can be part of the early access program, right? So, yeah, I mean, like even these big companies are trying to invest in these technologies, pretty much growing like anything. So does anyone recalls this particular NFT? Anyone has a clue what it is this? No? This is Beeple. This NFT was sold for, you guys guess. Right, 69.3 million. This is a collection of 5,000 digital arts altogether, and this was sold for 69.3 million. We're just talking about millions, but if you really go, like there's a lot money in that NFT. What is this? This is second most famous NFT. CryptoPunk, yeah. And I mean, like, look at the picture, right? It's so, I don't know, if this would probably play in my phone, I wouldn't like, to go and play this game. But I mean, as an NFT, CryptoPunk, I think this was sold for 23 million, and this year, February 2022. So, again, a huge lot of money, right? And this is a tweet. This is Jack Dorsey's tweet. And this, anyone want to guess? It was also, the tweet was also kind of sold. Any guesses?
Actually, it's written there. 2.9 million.
Right. So, I mean, like, tweet selling. I tweet a lot. I mean, if you are in Web3, you have to be on Twitter, right? Otherwise, you're missing out all the fun, all the controversies happening, and until you get there and you tell, no, I like this particular crypto, I am ETH agnostic, right? It doesn't really like feels like you are in the ecosystem. But yeah, I mean, like just see, Twitter's also being sold off. You can really see the amount there. So the offer that was made was for that much money. Look at the ETH that was traded, and it was on March 22. Great. So yeah, these are certain use cases in the business ecosystem. I'll not go through deep into this because I feel that the audience is just trying to get the hold of this. So yeah, you can have higher document securities because NFTs being so explicit that you just cannot duplicate it, right? Of course, there are a lot of I would say a lot of things happen around that, like people just copy that entire digital art and make money on top of it. So that's one problem that exists in the ecosystem. But the verification part, except that, right, these are very beneficial for the terms of, you want to check out how secure the document is because you just cannot really copy it, right? Then paperless management, so smart contracts, right? Now we are getting from contracts on paper to going on smart contracts. Of course, these two are very different things, but smart contracts actually allows you to verify a lot of things. If you have deployed a smart contract ever, you can check the status of that on either scan. So again, for the non-fungible token, the verification is super easy. And there are signatures also which are stored in NFTs. So, the process completely becomes paperless. And then you have the identity protection. So this was something that I was actually talking about when I said about Twitter, that you using your profile picture, making an NFT out of it, and then people can actually verify, just open the profile picture. So I think you can check out Vito's profile because he has got one. This is a very early access feature that was provided to some people. And him being from from the US side of place, he had that feature. So we had a huge discussion on top of it. So India is still not, we don't have that feature yet. Cool. So these are the certain reports actually, combine some certain data that you can look to. So the overall value of the NFT market is expected to rise by $231 million by 2030. Although people are saying there's there is bullish market, there's bearish market, a lot of things are happening in the market. People are still very bullish about NFTs itself. And NFT market can go potentially because they are more fluid, right? And they have the ability to serve the proof of ownership. So one another use case that comes to my mind when I say proof of ownership, and also I would say proof of knowledge, is that some certain Web3 universities, I think it's Learn Web3 DAO, right? It's also a resource that someone wants to dive into the Web3 ecosystem, learn few things. It's a very great resource, free resource. So what happens is that every time you complete a set of course, you get an NFT. You can showcase to people that I completed this particular course, and here is my NFT, and it's getting dropped to your wallet directly. You link it on the platform itself, right? So that's another use case that now we used to have these things, right? That, oh, I'm a student, I'm going to go study in this college, get my graduation degree, and show it to everyone. I don't know if this is going to happen in India, but I really feel that in education stream, this could be a thing where you have your NFTs on chain and people can verify that what education you have done, right? That's a proof of ownership that you hold that particular NFT as your graduation, whatever certificate you call or degree you call, right? And then people can verify. So you don't have to go about, dropping your resumes everywhere, telling that, I'm passed out from this college, that college, because it's verifiable, it's open, and you have an ownership to it. So another developments that happened was that in March 2022, Sandbox partnered with the first of the NFT community, World of Women. Why? Because I believe that this particular thing was actually great because USD 25 million is a huge amount. For women in Web3, we are still growing. Like you just look around, you will see the ratio, right? I'm not going to comment that we are not. I don't want to make that comment, but what I'm trying to say is that, yes, of course, these ratios that exist, in order to enhance the capacity and capability of women building in Web3, women builders, right? This particular, the funding that really happened was superb great for women. And in January 22, Jaipur Labs, collaborated with UFC so that whatever instances was happening in UFC history can be really, encouraged well in the community. So now, let's come to the second part of our conversation, the hedge, right? So theoretically, it means that it's a type of investment, more of like a security that you can reduce the risk of other price movements that are happening, right? So let's say cryptos are like super volatile, as I mentioned, but NFTs will still take time to change the amount because someone has bid the amount. They won't change it like every damn minute. If you actually go on CoinCapex and all these, multiple platforms where you can actually see the trading that is happening, it's super volatile. Per second, it changes, right? And all this seas of the bearish crypto market, still there are NFT collections which did really well. And this was a report by Dapper Labs itself. It's also a platform for all, NFT collectibles. So according to them, they mentioned this particular thing. And I believe why is it happening is because, again, the utility value wouldn't change that much, right? You are providing something through NFT, so that wouldn't change, right? So these are the certain top collections. So CryptoPunks, you can see the volume, the trading, and the sales that happened. Board app was another NFT that was very, very famous. I think they also have a club around it. So all the people who holded those NFTs were part of these club. They could actually, do a lot of things together and other things out there. So, yeah. Any questions so far before I move ahead? Yes.
Okay, so hi. So my question is very out of this thing, like not related to NFT particularly, but the technology. Okay. So right now we all know NFTs there, right? So we are saying NFT. Okay. So we know the numbers, right? So what is your point of view about the emotion? Okay. हमारे को पता है कि NFT में नंबर है, हमारे को पता है NFT में नंबर एंड ऑल है, but people don't know what is NFT, right? So we are buying NFT, we are saying we have this thing with us, but what if something new comes up? Will we drop NFT? Will we drop NFT if something new comes up?
Okay, so you're asking this from the point of technology, right?
NFT is going out everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But what if something better then comes up today? All this development and all things are going on. Will the NFT be dropped?
I believe no. Why? Because, see, again, it's an opinion thing, right? You are asking me, so I'm going to answer this from my point of view. Why? Because anything that is being adopted at such a mass space, right, and time, I wouldn't feel there would be a drop. Now, we are going in Web3. Do you think that the Web2 technology is actually dropped off? There are still databases, right? People still code on MongoDB. It's nothing like we are changing to IPFS database so that we have to drop MongoDB and all. Not every company is trying to be a Web3, but they're trying to include Web3 element. Because if they don't, then they are going to lose traction. It's also something which you call business strategy. You have to include the newer technologies, because if you would not do that, people will lose interest in it. Today you hold NFTs, you will still hold that NFT, and next 10 years you might have some another thing happening in the world. But that wouldn't be forgotten. I wouldn't say that, you know, the value of the same would reduce.
So we are still talking about numbers, right?
Yeah.
कि ये हमारे
Utility
पास है.
value.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Utility value and the price is completely different, right?
Okay.
An NFT might be able to give you access to a lot of things in the real world, which is happening through Starbucks, all these companies. I say that, like, let's say, even if they want to bring up new strategy, because, you know, they have a lot of marketing involved there, still that entire money that people are putting in buying that NFT and getting that experience out of it would not be taken for granted, because they are a huge company. If they do that, they're going to earn bad word of mouth.
Definitely, we'll have a lot more discussion about this.
Sure,
also.
definitely. Right. So there was another report that revealed that...
We have one more question, yeah.
Yeah, okay, sure. Sorry.
Yeah, basically I wanted to ask this from quite a time. So when you specified business solutions and you specified kind of like, you know, real estate systems, and so I want to understand, how would you bring enforceability to a system like that? Like, okay, somebody sold me an NFT for their house. Now, other than a token on a Web3 system that is basically disregarded by the government to be non-existential or improbable, how would that be an enforceable factor in a real world contract? He could basically take whatever finances he requires and at the end point deny the existence of such an NFT. And obviously waving a digital token in front of a barrister is not going to help me in any case. So at a future point, it will become necessary for the government to utilize blockchain to enforce such business structures. But that's going to take a long time. So till that point of time, these use cases are practically non-enforceable. While they might be amazing as concepts, but their practical utility is null. So how exactly would the government bring it to enforceability? Because there is no other way those business ventures are going to work. And if they do, then to what extent are we going to lose decentralization? Because at the end of the day, we are looking at a system, something similar to POA or POS, and at some point they're going to be delegating and administrating the entire system. So wouldn't that kind of kill the entire structure back to centralization?
So you're talking from two perspectives. Number one is the business, right? And second is the government. We cannot comment on government because they, whenever they want, you know, they change the entire notes.
Crypto went
No,
from
no, no,
being
not the
illegal to
crypto. Yeah,
30%
crypto, of course.
taxation.
Yeah, they brought taxation, right? It was super, but I would say the bigger thing that happened in the entire history of India from the perspective of currency was the demonetization. Because like you're nicely having thousands of monies, 500 rupees notes, and then you got to know that there is no value of this. You put the value in that particular, you know, your paper. that paper money became paper money. So now you used to think that, okay, I have 5,000 in my pocket. My aunt gave me as this, money that you give after festival, because it's also festive season going on. So a lot of people will have that thing where people give money, right? And then you get to know that all of this money is useless, right? So that was a bigger thing that happened. So coming on that point, right, the government perspective, of course, Indian government will have their own regulations. You cannot go, as of now, you just cannot go to any of these officials and show that, hey, there's an NFT for this. Because if that is the case, then of course they would also prioritize that and make a policy around that. Okay, if some person holds this NFT, then they can probably show that this house belongs to them. But that's a very, very far use case. I'm not even going there. I'm just talking about the utility value which can exist in brands, because brands have that decision. They do the marketing. And they have that independency that I am launching this thing. If you want to take, otherwise don't. Still, there are other percentage of people who would take it, right? So that's one thing. Of course, it's a very far thing. Second thing that I wanted to mention is that the centralization would be there no matter what, right? I would give you a use case that happened in India. This is a very recent news that on Polygon, there's a police station that is trying to record all these, crimes that is happening on chain. That's a news. And that's the first police station. I can't recall the name, but I read that news and I was like, wow. Sorry, someone said something? Yeah, Firozabad. So, now what if that someone just goes and say that, oh, you have this thing on blockchain. I will not consider this as a crime. But they have done that.
No, but there's a difference between using the blockchain to just maintain a record and then turning it into a proof of ownership.
This is how you begin, right? There would be ownership of the police station, saying that this is our chain. Let's say they hold that criminal, into a ledger. This is our ledger. I have the ownership to that, and all the crimes that's happening is on chain. We are putting it down so that everyone, there's no paperwork required, right? This is how we begin, because we just cannot jump on the contract part where I say that this is my house and I own it. Right?
So currently there's a lot of industries, especially maybe not in India. In India also we have one or two use cases where people are promising a real estate NFT based exchange system.
Yeah.
So isn't that very dangerously encroaching onto legality? Because you have a legal system in place which basically defines blockchain or any crypto exchange structures to be illegal or unrecognized. Because India's legal system allows the government to tax even illegal items. So at that point of time, they don't need to legalize crypto to tax it. Yeah. So that means that it is still illegal, still unrecognized, still not a proof of ownership, but there are people who are pitching it. Already.
Pitching is a problem.
Yeah, so that
is like something that I believe that you probably need to, that's a government and the real estate business getting together, talking about it, and figuring out.
If it's a system that is basically running on a blockchain, shouldn't the community be aware and enforce something based on that?
We will get there. This is India. So this is going to take time, right? We did not know that there's a criminal records happening on-chain, and then suddenly some random guy reaches there, gets to know this entire thing, and Polygon is like, wow, we never thought we could record crimes on-chain. They never thought it. They are the creators, right? So we are the ones who create those problems, and then we try to find use cases, and someone's actually initiate, and then of course now government will also jump into it. They will say that this is not legal, or they might legalize it.
I think they're tying up with the company in Austria, I believe, to come up with their own digital concurrency, and they're gonna compulsorize it to kind of enter into any crypto exchange.
Yes.
That this is gonna be the base token for you to exchange into any other system.
Yeah.
And if they centralize that crypto system, so that basically gives them a crystal clear method of tracking whatever's happening in crypto. You invested this much, this date here. So, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Right. So let's say, we are getting closer to the closing time. So we'll just do this conclusion. So there's a digital economy being set now around NFTs, cryptos both. NFTs specifically why? Because again the use cases are becoming huge. Another use case that I want to share, how many of you were in Web3 Conf Goa from here? Anyone? Okay, one hand. Okay, even I was there. Okay, and I bought like $100 ticket in order to see how the entire ticketing experience is. So ticket is another great use case for NFTs. Entire, like let's say you are going to watch a Marvel movie. It's a first day, first show. You get an NFTs for that, and you can now show it to friends that, hey, I'm very cool because I watched this movie. And what your friends would be like, what if that was like, you saw a pirated copy? People are not ready to believe when it comes to these kind of movies and releases. But now you have the NFT and you can showcase that, actually I have that NFT from PVR cinemas. I believe they're going to do something great. But yeah, it's still in the process. India is going to take its own time. We are still learning about the technology itself, so building on top of it and then legalizing what he mentioned, it's going to take a time, right? So there's an entire digital economy being unlocked right now, even in the bearish market. There is recession happening in US, so a lot of problems for them. But I think India is gonna face like a now new boost of energy and startups actually happening. And digital economy is gonna play a very, very major role in that, right? And with that, I will conclude to the session actually. And just want to notify that we at Crowdfund Transition, we are trying to hire people, right? We're looking for project managers, blockchain developers, growth hacker, and more. You can take this picture of the QR code or maybe just scan it on Google Lens, and you'll be directed to the Google form for filling out the details. If you're interested, you can read more about us on the website that's mentioned down there. So yes, that's one. Okay. Cool, right? So this is one thing. Second thing that I would like to announce that we are partnering with ETH Vietnam. We are the official partners for ETH Vietnam. We are looking for collaborators, sponsors. So if you are interested, you can check out the website, or you can also connect with me and my team, which is here, about ETH Vietnam. We can give you more information, but for the reference, you can check out the website. So this is going to happen in the month of November itself. So yeah, do check out, right? And with that, I will close the talk. We can take a couple of more questions if anyone has, but if you want, we can connect on Twitter and LinkedIn, right? Any more questions? You can talk from the perspective of Web3 also, if there's one, like if you want to ask. Sorry, come again?
Check the duplicate NFT.
A method to check, okay, you mean the duplicacy that happens, right?
I am copying one NFT to another.
Okay.
Is there any method to check which one is the original?
Contract address. The creators, OpenSea, right? You can actually go on their profiles and the contract address is verified if it belongs to them. So if you copy, your contract address is gonna be different and the creator can actually sue you for doing that. It's completely available on OpenSea. So someone actually, what they did is, I had this one picture posted on Twitter and someone said, we can make an NFT out of it. I said, go ahead. So this guy created an NFT, it's on his contract address, but it is my picture there, right? So I still hold that value. I mean, like there was no amount to it, actually, no price and nothing. But yeah, I mean, like people create NFTs like a memes also. You know, they are like going to sell this meme for $1,000 million and you own this, or maybe you sell tweet. So contract address is where you actually can verify the creators that is there on OpenSea and other platforms, marketplaces. They have got their own set of credentials. People know those credentials. If you do that, they can actually have a legal case against you also. So that is completely verifiable on the chain itself. Any more questions? Last one that I'll pick if someone has around Web3, crypto, NFTs. Cool, okay. No more questions.